I've dropped anchor as close to land as I dare. Now confined to the ship, I find myself torn. My most recent tangle with the monster has me undecided between holding my ground here or persevering onward. My vessel is sturdy and well fortified. There is a chance that if I remain I can intimidate and negotiate a decent payment for myself. But I've caught a glimpse of the most magical treasure. What kind of pirate would I be if I settled for fair negotiations? Getting there won't be easy. Countless perils stand between me and my quarry. And that's not taking into account the dreadful beast that roams the land. I consult with First Mate Teddy. You didn't choose the buccaneer life to take the safe route. Resolve strengthened, there is only one way forward. Those riches won't plunder themselves while I stay safe on the ship. Or worse, someone else could snag the spoils. I leave Ted in charge of the ship, then take a deep breath and plunge headfirst into the crystal clear water. My graceful dive is thwarted when I become tangled in the rigging. Despite my best efforts to right myself, I plummet overboard. As my back abruptly smacks into the water, my breath escapes in a whoosh. I dare not cry out, for surely the salty water will smother me. I try to calm myself. Not wanting to draw attention to my plight, I disengage from the wayward ropes. Suddenly, I find myself distracted by bright colors and rapid movement. It seems my descent into the ocean did not go unnoticed by sea life. They dart here in their first hiding from me, then reappearing in a cloud of sand. Swimming so close it is almost as if I could reach out and pet them. While their presence furthers to calm my racing heart, I cannot allow myself to be distracted. I back slowly away so as not to further frighten them. As the water breaks onshore, I find myself surrounded by trees. A trail, scantly wide enough for two men to walk side by side, cuts through the dense underbrush. I creep down the path, digging into my trusty pocket for my map. Drawn mostly from my memories of before I was last thwarted, I must plot a better route this time. I cannot help but feel as if the thick wall of trees has eyes that are studying my map with me. Engrossed as I am in my directions, I fail to notice that one set of eyes has detached itself from the lower branches. The stealth creature begins stalking towards me. My feet become tangled, and the ferocious feline seizes the opportunity to pounce. In a panicked state, seize on the only advantage readily available to me. I dive into the river, certain it will save me. But I have misjudged my foe, who happily gives chase. My heart pounds loudly in my ears as I try to evade capture. The wildcat suddenly turns tail and flees. I think I must have succeeded in outwitting it. Not until suddenly, my feet fall out from under me, do I hear the rushing of the rapids. Hands flailing, I cling to the first rock, trying desperately not to fall. My bare feet scramble to grip on the slippery surface. I glance around. To my left is a solid wall of rock. To my right, a sharp drop. Deciding that the water is still my safest ally, I aim myself downstream and allow it to take me. At the bottom, I crawl onto yet another beach. Having survived the treacherous descent, I collapse on the soft sand beside a sheer cliff face. Peering around, I notice several boulders and rocky outcroppings. I have lost my map to the rushing water, but my gut instinct tells me I'm near my prize. Slowly, I begin negotiating the uneven terrain. My aching body longs for rest, but distant sounds tell me I am far from alone. After the jungle cat and the rapids, I refuse to be caught unaware again. After all, I've yet to encounter the most savage monster of this land yet, and I know firsthand how vicious it can be. I feel exposed as I ease around the debris littering the shore. There are plenty of rocks, but none that will offer protection should the monster appear. Inadvertently, I stumble into a seagull's nest. I have no control over the chain reaction that follows as the colony sets off a screeching alarm. I bumble around seeking somewhere to conceal myself. This sets off more of the dreaded birds. It soon becomes clear that I must either retreat to the cliff or run for the mountain. I take off at a sprint, listening intently for the sound of feet. Finding shelter in a cave tucked in the mountainside, I take respite in being out of sight. Exhaustion is threatening to overtake me, but I must persevere. The treasure is within my sight. I can almost taste sweet victory. Yet there is still so far to go. I rally my strength and take stock of my surroundings. It is too steep to climb. No way to make the ascent unassisted. I spot a fallen palm tree. With a deep breath, I begin to shove. It emits a deafening noise, but I'm so focused on my prize it barely registers. Then out of nowhere, I am swept into the air. I'd foolishly forgotten these valuables were heavily guarded by a monster. Despite fighting with all my strength, I am carried off to the monster's lair. I begin screaming and kicking out. The monster's mammoth tentacles surround me, binding my arms to my sides. The sweet aroma of the treasure mixed with the scent of the creature as I'm pressed tight from all sides. A rumble emits from the brute, and its hypnotic powers cause me to quiet. Finally, inevitably, I succumb to the darkness as we sway back and forth, soothing me as only the sea can. I awake safe on my ship once more. Dragging first mate Teddy along, I quickly disembark. We barely pause to admire the vibrant colors of sea life as we pass. The trees can no longer frighten me as I stride with purpose down the path. With confidence, I navigate the waterfall. I dash around the boulders dotting the beach, paying little mind to the seagulls' shrieks. Rather than crouching in the cave, Teddy and I climb boldly atop the mountain. The monster approaches, the treasure chest clasped firmly. A massive smile breaks across my face. The monster returns my smile, holding out the container. Okay, kiddo, now that you've had your nap, you may have a cookie.